This is What Now with AI.
I'm Tom, and I'm an AI skeptic.
And I'm MJ, and I'm an AI realist. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, MJ.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Are you excited for the semester to start soon?
I really am. I'm getting my class together, and I'm teaching a class this fall on AI and STEM.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great time to talk about what might happen this year.
Correct. So, any new development in AI models that you want to share?
Yeah, there is. The tech companies, Microsoft is an example, that provide enterprise services like productivity suites or customer databases like Salesforce, are making AI models that are small enough that they go inside the product itself. The article that I sent you today is about Microsoft is creating what they're calling Copilot Plus ready notebooks that have a processor inside of them capable of running AI model that is integrated in the operating system itself. It's not even in a single product. It's like in the device. We're seeing now devices that are being made AI ready. We're going to see that more, I think, which is that you have a basic model, but then by using data that is unique to a business or even unique to a person, that model becomes, the word I use is bespoke. It's like it conforms to what you are specifically. So you can't teach about generic models because each company might have their own.
My first response is, why is Microsoft doing this? Why is Microsoft building these localized models inside their laptops? And my theory is that they want to make it part of the selling point because there's a big push on Copilot plus laptops. And I think it makes a lot of sense because this is really like a future because it can be used offline. Mm-hmm. And I've seen some of the videos that you sent me that shows a user using it offline, summarizing text, generating text. So I'm sure they're doing it for business reasons. They're not doing it just to be charitable. Another way to think about it, I'm already starting to think about how people will be opposed to it because
that's the thing is that these models that are going on the computer are very small. They're very specific and very niche.
Yeah. But I can totally see people making like a huge talking point about it. Like, oh, we are just letting people run localized LM, like killing the environment every day.
At some point, that's going to stop too, because it's going to be integrated into those things and we're not going to be able to take it out, like buying this, computer that is, it'll just come with the operating system. You have to do extra steps to turn it off, maybe. So I was driving in and thinking about what other technologies kind of are like that. And I was thinking cars are like that. The cars we have today look so different than they did when I was growing up. The big gas guzzlers, they were huge, but you never see those anymore.
Yeah, I think so we should be more forward thinking, like the data center debate that we're having right now. In a few years, we know that things will be more efficient. So we shouldn't really be thinking about things from today's perspective.
That's right.
Yeah.
That is one of the good factors of these models getting very small is that they are efficient and they're not using a huge 8-person minivan for something that you can do in a small, 1-person electric bike, right? You're using the model that fits what it is that you're trying to do. Yeah.
I think it's going to be the same thing, like kind of like what we're seeing with the localized LLM. Like we can do it offline now on our laptops.
Yeah, the question is, how fast is that going to happen? And, so many people now are coming to blows almost on, did you use AI or did you not use AI?
And having localized LLM is going to at least encourage a lot more people to experiment with it and even use it to produce text like stories, right? So I came across this really interesting article published in the Journal of Judgment and Decision Making. So the article is called Bot or Not? Can people tell the difference between stories written by a human or by an AI system? And there are several key findings here that I want to recap for you. So the first finding is that when given a story for them to evaluate, people would rate an AI-generated story higher quality than a person-written story. The second finding is if they are told that this piece of writing is written by human, regardless of whether it's actually written by machine or human, they would always rate human written stories high quality. The third thing is people can not guess whether a story is written by human or machine better than chance. But the interesting thing is, people who self-reported have more expertise with AI can identify AI-generated stories better than people who are not so familiar with AI.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to use it in my class. And last finding that I think could be really useful for so many instructors is get familiar with what AI writing looks like. Maybe be upfront with your students. Look, experts can tell when something is AI generated.
One fun thing that I do is whenever I spot any AI generated images, I just send a picture and send to my friend, said AI.
Okay.
Because if you have used, like, for example, the image generation models by OpenAI, you see the kind of like style of the poster that's very OpenAI. Or even like the presentation generated by Claude. Don't you notice that they always have the same like pattern and like color scheme? So when I see a presentation, yeah, this made by Claude.
Exactly.
Even for text, because you notice that ChatGPT's generated text, they always have like bullet point and then like key point and then semicolon and then explanation. And then you have there are a lot of emojis throughout the text. And then, always the infamous M dash. And then for text generated by Claude, they always have the last paragraph, they always have very short sentence.
I'm just flabbergasted by the fact that this is a question that we're even asking. 3 years ago, we wouldn't be asking, can you tell if this was AI generated or not? And even 2 years ago, because the first year, of course, you could tell it was different. It couldn't. But it's getting so fluent now.
I think it's very interesting how one of the findings shows that humans still have a sense of pride in what we produce versus what a machine produces.
Did you take pride? You interpreted that as pride?
Yeah, because like whenever we tell participants that it is generated by human, they always rate it higher. So they always have a bias that human written stories are better than machine.
I don't think that's pride in humans. I think that's, we're supposed to say that humans are better than technologies. I think there's a cognitive bias in this answer.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've also seen a little bit change of attitude in this, because in the past, people would be like, this is just AI slop, Now people are saying like, of course it's producing good enough quality, because they're stealing like works of thousands of millions of artists and synthesizing them and generating work. So they're thieves.
Why don't we have pride in how it is that we use AI, Mm-hmm. I sent to you what Substack is doing now with AI. What they're doing is that they're using it just on its face, not to say, you did or you didn't use AI, but here's how it reads. Here's how this technology says the likelihood that it resembles what AI would produce. And then they're going to be able to make that available as a reader. You can see whether or not that's there.
The concept of word inflation has been on my mind a lot because of how easy it is to generate text with AI these days. We see a lot of paragraphs of text every day because they're so easy to come by. But it doesn't mean that the quality of idea has necessarily improved. So I think really the concern here is not so much about detecting whether a piece of text is generated by AI, but whether the idea is actually good enough.
Oh, so you'd go even further. Instead of saying, is it AI or not, you would, just go back to, is it good or not? Is it a good paragraph or not?
Right.
I agree with you.
I also think that we should think about what's the purpose of text, right? Because even, you and I work in a huge organization. There are a lot of like text that needs to be produced because of bureaucratic reasons. Meeting minutes, we have to write them because we need to have some kind of record. Who reads them, right? In the past, I used to be the secretary. I would spend 1.5 hours summarizing the findings. People are now just like outsourcing them to AI, right? So I think those are good. But a lot of the times, especially on Substacks, people are spreading knowledge. People are debating ideas all the time.
Yeah.
So
we're talking about expression, not
right.
just about writing.
So if you have really good ideas, I don't really mind that you use AI to kind of polish your writing a little bit or even kind of expand your bullet points that you came up with, because the bullet point that you came up with are really the ideas that should be debated on rather than thinking about, oh, rather this paragraph is written by ChatGPT or whatever.
My husband was telling me that on Blue Sky, everybody is, oh, you don't use AI for writing. Don't use AI for writing. It's so divided. It is so.
I would argue the same way for X, because people are using Grok on X like Elon Musk is their daddy, you know.
So they're the opposite. Everybody AI is always good on X. Oh, isn't that funny?
Because under the tweets, they will always add Grok, is this accurate? Is this right? I like what you brought up about how different groups of people react to AI. Like I got forwarded an article by a friend. This article is published in CNN. It's called AI is booming on the West Coast. So why is unemployment so high there? And I have to give some context to you first. So this friend is 69 years old. He has been an educator for a while. He's really worried about the effects of AI on employment of young people. And I think just one sentence to summarize this whole article, even tech workers in the Bay Area are failing to find jobs right now, and they are attributing it to AI. At the same time, there's a report published by Stanford last month called What is Really Happening to Jobs, Separating AI Hype from Reality. The key takeaways are AI's effects on overall employment is likely small, though a tough job market for new graduates may be partly due to AI. AI's impact on worker productivity is mixed, but generally positive. Adoption of AI has accelerated, but unevenly across the economy, and we still don't have the last word on the future of work in an AI world. What are your takes on the report?
So your friend is 69, you said, who sent you this. One of the things about older workers that strikes me, and I'm not that far away from your friend, is just seeing how different work is. I think that work has changes for every generation. Some of this, I think, is a difference that would happen anyway. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a data scientist, and AI just came up, you know, and how he teaches. And I asked him, it's like, you teaching online, how are you doing this? And he said he encourages his students to use AI to finish the assignments that are given. He himself can't stand it. He doesn't like AI. But he encourages them to use it because they're going to have to. That's what the employers want. The employers are expecting that they're using AI.
I belong to a breakfast group. I meet with a group of people regularly. This guy in the breakfast group, he graduated from UMich in the 80s. He recently got laid off, and he went on like a 15-minute complaint about how AI is taking away his job. I've seen him work on his computer before. He's the kind of person that uses space instead of tab. And he doesn't know how to make like the border of a table disappear. So
right,
of course he's going to be eliminated by like a younger coworker who can generate text much faster than he does.
Right. It's going to the idea of work. One of the things that you said in work that I thought was really interesting was the things that the different models, they went back and they looked at the literature and saw what the different models, sectors of the economy they were used for. Like it's impacting senior, mid-career, you know, kind of developing professionals much less than early career. That kind of makes intuitive sense.
Yeah.
But the other thing I think that we have, one of the figures in here, they looked at the different AI models and tools. And they looked at the studies of different professions to see how much the use of that model sped up the time that it took to do it. The literature that they looked at included a study that looked at software, which cut the time it took for the task by 56%, professional writing, which is what kind of we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Cut that by 40%, management consulting by 25%, legal work ranged 10 to 30%, customer support 13%, clinical documentation 10%.
So yeah, you're right. I think we should really not necessarily embrace, but consider the positive impacts that Gen AI can bring to us, especially for people who haven't really considered using Gen AI at all. the kind of people that I'm talking about who still uses like space instead of tabs.
At the same time that we're looking at what AI, quote unquote, can do, it shines, it's a mirror back on us. I don't know.
I think decision making and judgment are two things that employers are still valuing in employees. And there's an interesting, shocking by my measure statistics by the research firm Garnier that says that next year, 2027, 50% of companies that cut staff due to AI will rehire workers to perform similar functions. So they fire them because they think that AI would do a better job. Then they realize that AI is actually not so good at making decisions or making judgment. Then they are rehiring those people that were fired.
I agree with the probable bounce, but I don't think it's because they realize AI can't do X, Y, or Z. So I agree with what Gartner is saying, but it's because right now, the decisions and the individual things that people are doing are invisible, and technology is making those visible. So right now, we don't necessarily know what the work is. And if you have a machine do it and do only the things that you think it is, well, you're going to miss the stuff that actually is included with that.
I don't know about you, but when I was reading the CNN article, I'm actually thinking about our MSU graduates. I do see in Facebook groups, on Reddit, a lot of people in the area are having difficulty looking for jobs. And that Stanford report actually point out something that's interesting. Not all the unemployment problems is due to AI. Some of it is due to the weakening economy. I don't want to go into the political sphere of this discussion, but it's true that, yes, MSU is pumping out 10,000 graduates every year, but there aren't 10,000 degree requiring jobs in the area. So you kind of have to move out of East Lansing or Michigan even to get a job that suits you. It doesn't seem that the problem is due to AI. I'm not trying to be mean or like mean-spirited here, but I just think that maybe we're placing the blame on the wrong thing.
And I think what you're saying is bringing up something that's been on my mind, which is what is education for? We could keep trying to guess what the economy will do, or as educators, we could lean into what are the skills and capacities and as a person that we can help students to be able to navigate this themselves. The question is about what the education should do. This was the article, University of Sydney. They have moved to what does a student need in a world with AI in it? Yeah, they need to know how to use AI, but AI is going to keep changing. The AI we have today isn't the same as what we will end up having. And so what we need to do is to prepare people to be able to live in that world. I hope that's what MSU moves toward.
So is it a good thing or not? I think this requires a bigger discussion. Why don't we end this episode with something that's fun?
Yes.
We've talked a lot about AI sloth and, subpar work produced by AI. But a lot of people are having fun with AI, using it to generate some kind of jokes, I guess. So people are kind of entering a lot of prompts into AI by imagining themselves as different objects or different animals and asking questions. So one of the prompts is, I'm a fish and there's a worm in front of me. Can I eat it? And the response is, no, do not eat it because it's likely attached to a sharp metal hook. That worm is a trick made by a human to catch you. Another one, I'm a wasp. Should I sting him? No, you should not sting him. Save your venom. Fly away in peace and let the human be. Another one, yo, I'm a dog. Should I take a poop on the carpet? No, you should not take a poop on a carpet. Wait until your human takes you outside or head over to the designated grass spots. And there's so many scenarios like, I'm a little mouse and there's a piece of cheese sitting on a piece of wood.
It's AI tools are machines. They'll just as easily be a mouse or a dog or a wasp or whatever as they will be a human. And so now I'm thinking, let's see. I am Sparty, the MSU mascot. Okay, what is this? ChatGPT, just the free version. I am Sparty, the MSU mascot. I'm a football game. I see the mascot of the other team. Should I tackle it? No. Even as Sparty, your job is to menace the opposing mascot theatrically, not actually tackle them. You can square up, do an exaggerated fake charge, dance around them, or engage in some prearranged mascot shenanigans. But an actual tackle could injure the person inside the costume and turn a rivalry bit into an incident.
Yeah, notes taken for our next game with OSU.
What Now with AI is a product of AI Commons. The contents in this podcast are openly licensed via Creative Commons license BY-NC-ND. Views expressed are those of the individuals and do not necessarily represent those of Michigan State University.
This episode was recorded on August 12, 2026.